going on, guys? It's JMass, and you already know what time it is. This is the series on the channel where I generate a random set of coordinates somewhere in New England, and I have to go and physically visit them. Now, this is episode 5 of the series. I've already done 4 episodes previously, so if you haven't checked those ones out, do so now before watching this one. But this is episode 5 of the series where I generate a random set of coordinates somewhere in New England, and it could be any of the 6 states in New England, and I have to go and visit it myself. So let's get started. I'm going to briefly discuss the introduction. You guys know the deal by now, and then we'll get right into it, visiting the random coordinates that I'm going to generate momentarily.
As I just mentioned, this is episode 5 of the series, so be sure to check out episodes 1 through 4 before this one if you want to see my previous journeys and challenges. In each episode, I have to visit a randomly generated location somewhere in New England, and this often takes me to obscure or unusual places I otherwise would have never visited. Alright, let's speedrun these rules real quick. I'll be setting limits around the entire region of New England, and using the random location generator program on perchance.org to generate a random set of coordinates within this region limit. Once my coordinates are plugged in, I'll click randomize until I receive a set of coordinates that are doable. This excludes any coordinates that land on private property, or in the middle of a lake, ocean, or hard-to-reach island. Eventually, I received my set of randomly generated coordinates for this challenge, and it was a location I never expected. I'll be traveling to a spot deep in the hilly woods of western Connecticut, in the small town of Kent, near the state border with New York. Interestingly, these random coordinates generated just west of the Appalachian Trail, the world's longest hiking-only trail. Thus, to get there, it is clear that I'll have to hike a portion of the Appalachian Trail to get there, and then do a bit of bushwhacking. The coordinates are also located directly on the slope of a large tree-covered hill, known as Thayerbrook Hill, so there may be a bit of steep hiking involved. This is within a region of Connecticut known as the Litchfield Hills, named for its hilly and mountainous terrain, defined by small towns and a plethora of hiking trails.
Alright guys, so we've once again covered the rules. We now have our randomly generated coordinates, so without further ado, we're going to get started. I'll check back in with you guys tomorrow morning, and we're going to go head over to those randomly generated coordinates and see what the journey has in store. So see you guys tomorrow. Let's do it. Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm officially back, and it's a little after 7 a.m. this morning. I'm parked right outside of my apartment here in Massachusetts, ready to embark on today's journey. Now, it's about a 3-hour drive down to our randomly generated coordinates, which are actually located in the town of Kent, Connecticut, which is situated on the very western edge of Connecticut, way out near the New York state border. And it's pretty interesting because these randomly generated coordinates are located right along the Appalachian Trail, specifically in the Litchfield Hills region of Connecticut, a very rugged and hilly part of the state. I have been to that area before, but never this specific site, and I'm really interested to see what it's like. This will be the very first randomly generated coordinates video where I actually have to go along the Appalachian Trail to get there. So it's going to be kind of cool. And of course, like always, there's a bit of bushwhacking involved. I don't think it'll be a very difficult site to get to, but I am really interested to see what the site itself looks like and the process to get there. So why don't you guys join me? Let's head down to Kent, Connecticut, see what there is to check out along the way, and then embark on our journey to the randomly generated set of coordinates, randomly chosen for me by a computer algorithm. Let's get started.
After leaving my apartment, I began working my way south down I-495, passing through familiar suburban towns like Westford, Littleton, Boxborough, Bolton, Berlin, and Hudson. It was a sunny yet slightly cloudy day, but it was brutally hot out with high humidity. As I drove down the highway, I truly had no idea what I was in store for, and I would find myself missing my car's ice-cold air conditioner later on during the challenge. Nonetheless, I continued on, making quick work of driving through the state as I neared the Mass state line. Eventually, I crossed into the state of Connecticut, where the rest of my journey would take place. Quick tangent, but why does Connecticut's state welcome sign call themselves the basketball capital of the world? Because of UConn? Hell no, that doesn't count. The real answer is Springfield, Massachusetts, buddy. Anyways, I digress. I continued southwest down I-84, driving through the capital city of Hartford, with the dense skyline drawing closer to me as I neared the iconic Hartford Tunnel. I would soon be leaving the Hartford metro area, passing through a few suburban towns before heading off the interstate for good. One of my favorite landmarks to spot while driving down I-84 is the strange 4-level stack interchange in Farmington, which, fun fact, is partially abandoned and unused. I was now off the interstate, driving westward down Connecticut Route 4, passing through small towns like Burlington and Harwinton. I eventually neared the city of Torrington, the largest city in the Litchfield Hills region, and what would be my first and only stop of the journey.
Yo, what's going on, guys? I am back once again, and it's about 9:45 a.m. as I film this right now. We're making pretty good progress. I only have about 40 minutes left until I reach the parking spot I need to go to in Kent, Connecticut. That'll bring us to the randomly generated coordinates. But yeah, we're making good progress. Only about 40 minutes left, 9:45 a.m. I basically just hauled my ass down the interstate system all the way up from Massachusetts down here to Connecticut. But without stopping, of course, and I do want to take a little bit of a brief stop right now, and I'm actually here in the city of Torrington, Connecticut. Now, I've actually never been to Torrington before. You know, I've been all throughout Connecticut, but Torrington, Connecticut is a city I've not yet visited. It's the largest city here in Litchfield Hills, the region of Connecticut I'm exploring, and I figured I would take a little bit of a brief stop and explore Torrington with you guys. So why don't you join me? We're just going to walk around the city a little bit, see what it has going on. I'm already liking what I'm seeing. I mean, right now I'm in a beautiful little park called Coe Memorial Park. You can see this gorgeous little flower bed right here. So yeah, without further ado, let's just kind of wander around Torrington, Connecticut a little bit, the largest city here in the Litchfield Hills region of Connecticut. See what it has to offer. You know, it's a city I've never been to. And then we'll continue onwards towards Kent, Connecticut, the final destination to go see our randomly generated coordinates. All right, let's go check it out.
I spent a bit of time wandering around Coe Memorial Park, the central town common and park for the city of Torrington. It was a very pretty public space, defined by notable features like this beautiful stone-ornamented water fountain, serving as a centerpiece. There were vibrant flowers and a plethora of various greenery and shrubbery, making for a quite nicely manicured park. I also liked how the park detailed its history through plaques and memorials, and it is an admittedly interesting history. The park is named for the Coe family, an influential family from Torrington who donated this land to the city in 1906. It once served as their private residence, but the buildings and houses have long since been removed. Interestingly, the 15-ton memorial boulder that now serves as a plaque for the Coe family required 15 horses to move to its present-day site. Next, I made my way towards downtown Torrington, walking along Main Street as I passed by the Naugatuck River, which was unfortunately quite low due to the severe drought affecting New England at this time. I discovered this historic plaque detailing a devastating flood that once ravaged the city in 1955, which was an interesting read. I continued onward, weaving through the dense city blocks of Torrington's downtown section, admiring the many brick buildings lining the streets. It was admittedly quiet, with not many other people wandering around like I was, but to be fair, it was around 10 a.m. on a Saturday morning. Still, I quite liked it, and enjoyed my time walking around Torrington. It was a classic small New England city. I was feeling very hungry, so after a bit of walking, I stumbled upon Ambateño Bakery, a small Ecuadorian bakery with a variety of food and drink offerings inside. Being a huge fan of both Latin and South American food, I stepped inside and was greeted by numerous options, from breads to pastries to cakes and more. I was stuck between a few different options, but eventually, after much deliberation, I settled on an item that was recommended to me by the server, a plantain-based empanada filled with chicken and potatoes, as well as an apple soda from Ecuador. Satisfied with my purchase, and genuinely pretty hungry at that, I made my way back to the park, looking for a bench to sit at.
What's up, guys? I am back in Coe Memorial Park. I just wandered around downtown Torrington for a little bit, and I gotta say, I really do like it. Downtown Torrington was beautiful, a lot of great architecture, some really cool brick buildings, a lot of history, and of course, a lot of great shops and restaurants. I had a great time wandering around Torrington. It was a fun city. And one of the shops I actually stopped at was a South American bakery, Ambateño Bakery. So if you ever find yourself in Torrington, definitely check out Ambateño Bakery. I know I had to, and in fact, when I was there, I actually grabbed an empanada. Specifically, this is a plantain-based empanada with chicken inside it. I don't know if there's cheese, I can't remember, but at the very least, it's a plantain empanada with chicken. So I grabbed it there. But yeah, cool little bakery, Ambateño Bakery. It was a Ecuadorian Colombian fusion. So yeah, let's check this out. Wow, that is good. I do taste a little potato in there. That's what it was, potato. Chicken, potato, plantain. Wow, very good. I apologize for the sirens in the background. Horrible timing. All right, now let's try this. This is actually an Ecuadorian soda. It's an apple flavored soda from Ecuador. Let's try this. This is good. Ecuadorian soda in a plantain-based empanada here in Co Memorial Park. I like it. All right, let's continue on with the journey.
I left the park and hopped back on the road, getting onto US Route 202 and continuing west. All the while, as I drove, I drank my delicious Ecuadorian apple soda, fittingly named Manzana. With roughly 40 minutes of driving left, I was making good time, so I sat back and enjoyed the scenery, driving through a part of Connecticut I really don't come to very often. I must say, this is a very scenic part of the state, with quaint small towns and stunning hilly scenery. I actually really enjoyed the drive, and I honestly think the Litchfield Hills are probably the most underrated region here in the state. Soon enough, I pulled into the town of Kent, which was the final town I would enter for this challenge.
All right, guys, it's a little after 11 a.m., and I'm officially here in the town of Kent, Connecticut, our final destination of the journey, and the town where our randomly generated coordinates are located. Now, Kent is a pretty small, quaint New England town. I've only driven around it a little bit so far, but I like it. It's pretty nice here, pretty relaxed. What I did just notice, though, which is pretty interesting, and I want to show you this. You see those hills right behind me? Those admittedly pretty large hills? That is actually where our randomly generated coordinates are located. So Google Maps, when I was looking, doesn't really do it justice. I knew they were hills going in, but those are much bigger than I expected. Those are the hills we gotta climb to get to our randomly generated coordinates. They're actually way up there at the summit. So in a second, I'm gonna head towards the parking lot. We're gonna hop onto the Appalachian Trail, and we're gonna start hiking those hills over there, part of the Litchfield Hills, and get to our randomly generated coordinates, which of course will require a little bit of bushwhacking. So yeah, why don't you guys join me? I'm gonna head over there shortly. I might explore Kent a little bit first and then see what it's in store, but yeah, we got a bit of a hike ahead of us. I didn't realize that.
After spending a few minutes peering out at the hills in the distance, taking in the sight of what I would soon be hiking up, I got back in my car for the final drive. It was just a short drive through town to get to the parking lot near the trailhead, about 2 minutes from the cemetery I was at earlier, so I made the quick drive and then parked my car in the small gravel pull-in lot off the side of the road. Next to me stood a sign officially marking the Appalachian Trail, one of America's most famous trails, and some breathtaking hilly scenery behind it.
Alright guys, so I just parked my car, standing here on the side of the road, and we are officially about to start the Appalachian Trail. I just want to show you the absolute beauty behind me. Check out all these rolling hills. Beautiful day today. It's very hot, very muggy, but it's beautiful. But anyways, we are about to start the Appalachian Trail, which of course will be the trek to our randomly generated coordinates, which are just west of the trail. So we have to actually go up the trail, hike up to the top of those hills, and then I have to start bushwhacking out of the trail to get to the coordinates. So anyways, this is the start of this segment of the AT, the Appalachian Trail. We're gonna get started now, and I honestly have no idea what to expect. Let's just get right into it.
I quickly hopped onto the trail and was immediately met by a steep incline up the side of the hill, surrounded by dense forest on all sides. While the trek was by no means difficult, this first push up the trail was definitely quite steep. The trail was also rocky, and I carefully walked across the numerous rocks, stones, and boulders covering it. Still, it was absolutely beautiful. It was early summer as I filmed this, and the forest exuded a lush green color. I had also picked a quiet day to hike the AT, and I rarely encountered any other hikers during my trek up the hill. It truly felt like I had the whole forest to myself, and honestly, I loved that. It was peaceful and serene.
I don't know if you guys can tell or not right now, but I am absolutely sweating buckets right now. And that's not necessarily because this is a difficult hike. I would say it's a moderate hike, not too bad. The problem though is that it's insanely hot right now. It's about 90 degrees out. It's muggy, it's humid. I am pouring sweat right now. So again, not a hard hike, pretty moderate, but it's the temperature, the humidity that's really getting to me. And I always forget about that when the summer comes around. Every time the summer comes and I go for a hike, I always forget how humid it gets. And that's what really gets me. So yeah, I'm pouring sweat. But anyways, guys, we're making good time. I think I have about 30 minutes left until I reach the point where we have to start bushwhacking. So that's about a third of the way there. So we're about a third of the way to the randomly generated coordinates. I just have to keep on moving. Still walking down the AT right now. Beautiful trail, by the way, and some beautiful scenery. Yeah, having a good time. But I just want to give you guys an update. We're continuing on. We still have about a half hour left until we reach the bushwhacking part, which curious to see what that'll be like.
For the next few minutes, everything went as planned, and I continued the hike as I normally would, pushing forward at a brisk pace. I was working my way up the rocky trail, which was getting a bit windier, with more blind turns as it crawled up the hill. However, in the span of just a few seconds, I was barreling my way back down the trail in a hurry, having just experienced one of the scariest things I'd ever encountered in the woods.
Ooh. Oh my God, holy shit, guys. I am literally shaking right now. Craziest thing that's ever happened on a randomly generated coordinates video just happened to me. Ooh, I'm shaking. So obviously I'm by myself right now. I'm hiking up the AT, deep in the woods here in Kent, Connecticut. And everything was going well. Had no problems, didn't encounter anybody else, nothing. And then I turned a corner. It's like a blind corner. And as I turn, I hear a loud thump in the woods, you know, the rustling of trees and stuff. And I'm like, what the hell is that? Turns out it was a black bear and 3 cubs. So no joke, as I turn the corner, I'm face to face with a mother black bear and 3 of her cubs. And I cannot tell you how my heart just stopped and my body went cold. Look, I know black bears are not the scariest bears out there. Most of the times that humans have encounters with black bears, it goes all right. They end up leaving unscathed, and that's what happened to me. As soon as I saw the black bear, I just rose my arms up, started talking really loudly and yelling really loudly, and then I immediately walked the other way, and the black bear and the cubs just left. I mean, clearly the bears were not interested in me, so they left immediately, thank God, and I did not get close, and I was definitely not taking my phone out to film, so that's why I'm not showing you guys any footage. Actually, I will put a picture of a black bear right there to add to the effect. But yeah, I mean, wow. I am sweating so bad right now. I barreled down the trail as soon as I saw those black bears. I mean, I didn't leave immediately. I made my presence known, but then I left. Woo. Jeez. That's what you gotta be careful about that stuff when you're hiking by yourself in the woods, especially in a remote wilderness. I have no cell phone service or internet right now. So if something happened, I don't even know what I would have done. But it was actually right up there where the black bears were, way up there. Maybe 200 feet or 300 feet from where I'm at right now. They lunged deep into the woods, so I know the bears are gone. I'm gonna give it like 20 minutes before I attempt again. Yes, maybe very stupid of me, but I am gonna attempt this randomly generated coordinate challenge. But now I know there are black bears wandering through the woods, which makes the bushwhacking part a little more disturbing for me. So I'm gonna chill back here for a bit, give it some time, and then I'll continue onward. But wow, I cannot believe I just got face to face with a mother black bear and 3 cubs. Really hope my parents are not watching this, they're gonna freak out. But again, those are the dangers sometimes when you hike by yourself. Thankfully, I have bear mace and stuff, but wow, Jesus, I'm shook. By the way, guys, fun little fact. It was actually right here where the black bear and her cubs were. The mother black bear was right there by that tree. 2 of her cubs were down here, and 1 of her cubs was actually climbing up one of these trees. So about 20 to 25 minutes ago, yes, I did wait for a bit just in case. They were congregating over here, but as soon as I turned the corner and saw them, they ran into the bushes. So those black bears are probably somewhere deep in the woods over there. And actually, as I was walking, I did just run into some other hikers and I informed them. They joined me for a little bit, which was nice, but they ended up turning around, which now I'm thinking, should I have done that? I don't know. Let's continue. I have not lost a randomly generated coordinates challenge yet, and I'm hoping today will not be the day.
Still anxious from my face-to-face black bear encounter, I continued to hike up the trail, still a bit shaken. Now again, I know what some people will say. Black bear attacks are very rare, and for the most part, they prefer to avoid any interactions with humans. I also thankfully knew what to do. I did not instantly run away, instead making my presence known and making myself appear bigger. But still, when you're that close to a mother black bear with cubs she probably wants to protect, you never truly know how she will react to you being there.
What's up, guys? I am back again after my little scare earlier. I really weighed all of the possibilities. I considered everything. I thought about, possibly turning back around and scrapping this video, or calling it a failure, or even just starting a brand new randomly generated challenge today or even tomorrow. But I thought about it and I'm like, you know what? No. I've come so far already, and I've never lost one of these challenges before. Why would I start now? So, rather foolishly, I'm continuing on with the journey. But that being said, after that little scare earlier, I'm definitely a lot more aware and alert right now. I'm hiking much slower. I'm talking to myself while I'm hiking so that I sound loud, and I'm making myself known and present to all wildlife in the area. And of course, I got my bear mace. And the other thing too is every time I turn a blind corner in the trail, I do it so cautiously as if it's a life or death situation. So I did learn quite a bit from that face-to-face black bear encounter. Freaked me out, my heart's still pounding, and I'm definitely a little more on edge now as I hike this trail. But you know what? I'm not the first person nor the last person to encounter a bear while hiking. It's the first time it's happened to me, so that's why I'm especially freaked out. But I'm sure there are seasoned AT hikers who encounter bears all the time and probably handle it a lot better than I do. So anyways, guys, we're continuing on. This challenge is not over. I will hit these randomly generated coordinates, and good news, I am making decent time. I am well over halfway to the bushwhacking segment of the trip, which that's honestly what I'm a little more nervous about, but I'm near the bushwhacking segment, and that's where the actual journey truly begins.
As I was hiking, I stumbled upon a tree covered in clusters of these strange beetles. They had black bodies with yellow heads. I have no idea what they are, so if anyone knows, please let me know down in the comments below. Anyways, I pushed forward as I was getting closer and closer to the bushwhacking section of the journey, which was coming up in just a bit. I had long since completed the steep inclines, and I was now on a more steady, moderate portion of the trail. Still, the muggy humidity was brutal, and I was sweating profusely as I trekked through the dense wilderness, completely by myself. In fact, I would only pass by a single other hiker the entire rest of the hike, even though I was on the famous Appalachian Trail during a nice summer day. I was now just a few more steps away from the turnoff point, and I honestly had no idea what to expect as I left the trail and began bushwhacking through the woods, off the beaten path.
Well, guys, it's about that time. After a very long, intense, and tumultuous journey here, we've officially arrived at the point in the challenge where I have to head off of the trail and deep into the dense wilderness. So in a second, we're going to be heading right off the AT. That's the trail I've been following the entire time, this trail right here. We're going to be stepping off of it and heading deep into the dense, thick woods right over there. Now, normally it wouldn't be so bad, but because I encountered a black bear earlier, I'm a little more on edge now. Who knows what other wildlife is lurking in these woods? Who knows what other black bears are lurking around? That's not to say that with other challenges in the woods that I wasn't around black bears. It's just the fact that I saw it earlier. But I'm going to stop bringing that up. It's freaking me out a bit. But yeah, we're going to be stepping off of the AT right here and officially entering the deep, dense woods. So let's do it. And we are officially off of the Appalachian Trail. So I'm going to start bushwhacking to our randomly generated coordinates. And by the way, I should mention, our coordinates are right up there. Now, the coordinates are actually on a bit of a steep slope, so it's not going to be a ground level walking experience. I am actually going to be climbing up some steep hilly terrain to get there. When I was looking on Google Maps, and even right now that I'm surveying it, I believe the randomly generated coordinates are on a slope. So we're gonna see, but I'm heading there now. We're officially off the trail, trudging through the woods, going to the coordinates, and I think very shortly, in like 5 to 6 minutes, it'll be safe to say that this challenge is completed. So yeah, let's do it.
This was now the final stretch of the journey, and I was trudging through the dense, wild forest with no trail or path to follow. I watched my step as I was making my way up the hill, but in all honesty, it wasn't as bad as I thought. This was surprisingly one of the easier bushwhacking experiences I've had in this series, and the woods, while still dense, were not as thick and unkempt as I had imagined. Still, some of the terrain was a bit tricky, especially as I was climbing up, gaining slight elevation. The randomly generated coordinates were by the top of Thayer Brook Hill, so I would be hiking another hill, but this time without any marked trail to guide me.
Okay guys, any moment now, we're gonna be reaching the official final destination of this journey, the actual randomly generated chords. We just have to wade our way through this sea of ferns, which I'm trying to do right now. And by the way, for the nature lovers out there, I am trying to watch my step and not destroy any of these ferns. I'm trying to be careful about it. But I'm wading my way through these ferns, and the randomly generated coordinates should be somewhere over here, actually. Somewhere in this area or this vicinity. Actually, there's a bit of a cliff right up there. I wonder if it's up there. Let me consult my GPS, but we are actually a stone's throw away from it. So let me get back to you, and we'll be there. Woo! We did it, guys. I officially reached the randomly generated coordinates that were randomly generated for me on a computer program. It brought me here, and here I am. These are the official coordinates. It might be hard to tell from this angle, but if I turn around, you'll notice that I'm way up here on a bit of a cliff face, a very rocky cliff face. So this is an interesting spot. The randomly generated coordinates are actually on a slopey, rocky cliff deep in the woods. You can't really see much from this cliff face. It's all dense wilderness, but yeah, that's where we are. We are literally standing on a rocky, cliffy edge. Super cool. Probably one of the coolest spots that the random coordinate generator has ever brought me. Fascinating. So yeah, this was it. I'm gonna go over the final thoughts and conclusions I have about this spot, and then I think that about does it for the journey portion itself. But wow, we made it. Well guys, we officially did it. Randomly generated coordinates number 5. This is the 5th set of coordinates randomly generated for me by a computer program that I've traveled to and successfully visited. I'm standing in the exact spot right now, which is basically on the slope of a rocky cliff face deep in the middle of the woods in western Connecticut, right off the Appalachian Trail. Probably one of my favorite spots I've visited for this series, if not my favorite. Has it been the most challenging journey or the most challenging hike? No, by no means. But it's one of the most interesting locations I visited for the series. Deep in the woods of Connecticut, right along the Appalachian Trail, on a cliff face. I mean, it's really beautiful here. I would like to give you a better angle of where I'm standing, but unfortunately my tripod just broke as I was setting it up. Awesome, that's just what I need today. So this is the angle you guys get for now, but you can at least see the steep slope I'm standing on. It's really interesting. It's a cliff face, and actually if I look out over there, I can see all the forest. It's super cool. So again, really cool set of coordinates. I say this in every episode of this series, but one thing that I always like to bear in mind, get it? Bear in mind. Sorry. One thing I like to keep in mind with these explorations is that the thing I like about these randomly generated challenges, it brings you to spots you otherwise probably would have never visited. Now it's possible I could have traveled along that Appalachian Trail segment sometime in my life, but would I have ever gone to this specific point? I mean, I had to bushwhack off the trail at a very certain location, at a very specific spot, deep in the woods. It's probably been years since any human being has been to this spot. And here I am. It brought me to a spot that probably very few people have been to. A spot I otherwise would have never gone to. I would have no reason to ever come out here. And that's what I love about these randomly generated challenges. It brings you to places you otherwise would never go, And it just gives you more appreciation for the area you live in this case, New England. I'm a lifelong New Englander. I'm from Massachusetts, and in terms of Connecticut, I visited Connecticut many times, but this is a part of Connecticut I don't come to very often, and specifically this part of Kent, Connecticut, never been to. So that was a rambly way of me saying I love that these challenges bring me to places I otherwise would never go to. It just gives you more appreciation for the area you live in. But yeah, guys, that is it for randomly generated coordinates challenge number 5, episode 5. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I would love to do more going forward. Let me know if you want me to do an episode 6. I'm like on the fence. I don't know if I should stop doing this series or continue. This was a fun one, especially with that black bear encounter. Was not expecting that. But one thing I do want to do really quickly, I think I might check out one last spot before I fully end the video. So stay tuned, don't leave just yet. We're going to be checking out one more place before I end off the video, because before I got here, I felt like I didn't really see too much on the way. So there is one thing I want to check out before I leave the town of Kent. So why don't you guys join me right now? Let's go check out this last spot, and then that is officially it for the video.
After a long trek back to the parking lot, I hopped back into my car and began driving through the small town of Kent to my last stop. It was interesting seeing the hills from a distance as I was driving by them, knowing that, just a few minutes ago, I was trekking through them, deep within those very woods. I was tired and sweaty, and my day was coming to an end, but I was excited to see the last location, situated at the southern end of the town.
And this right here is the very last thing I want to check out in this video, Bull's Covered Bridge here in Kent, Connecticut. You guys know I love covered bridges, so I figured this was a great place to end the video off. Let's check it out.
Bull's Bridge is a single-lane lattice truss bridge in the south of Kent, crossing over the mighty Housatonic River. The bridge is named for ironworkers Jacob and Isaac Bull, who originally constructed a bridge on the site in 1760 to transport pig iron to nearby New York. Some suggest that George Washington himself crossed over this original bridge during the American Revolution, although this legend has never been proven. Still, the bridge proved to be a vital crossing throughout the mid to late 18th century. The current bridge you see now was built much later, in 1842, retaining the same Bull's Bridge name as the previous. It was originally a toll bridge, although it became free to cross in 1867. By 1903, the bridge was raised higher up, and in both 1949 and 1969, the bridge underwent extensive repairs and renovations. Today, Bull's Bridge is a local attraction and still hosts frequent vehicular traffic, albeit as a single-lane crossing. The bridge crosses over the rushing, rapid waters of the Housatonic River, which itself is a popular attraction. Nearby the bridge, a hydroelectric dam outlet can be found, with water surging out into the river, all while fishermen gather along the rocky riverbank. It is important to note that Bull's Bridge is only one of 3 surviving covered bridges in Connecticut, and only one of 2 still operating as a road crossing.
Hey, thank you guys for joining me. I've been J-Mass as always, and this was episode 5 of my series where I visit randomly generated coordinates all throughout New England. And today it brought us all the way to Kent, Connecticut, and we checked out a random spot deep in the middle of the woods, right off the Appalachian Trail. It's such a fun challenge. I love doing these videos. Again, let me know if you want to see episode 6. I'm sort of on the fence about it, but I would definitely be open to it. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna end off the video here. If you love traveling all across New England and beyond, I'm always doing that on this channel, so feel free to subscribe to the channel. I do want to give a major shout out to all my channel members. You can see them all right here. You guys are awesome, and I'd love it if you too, viewer of this video, considered becoming a channel member as well. You'd be supporting me and the channel directly, and I truly appreciate it. Or you can follow me on Instagram at JMassOfficial. That's at JMassOfficial. But I've been JMass as always. This was episode 5 of visiting randomly generated coordinates all across New England, here in Kent, Connecticut. Fun time, and I did actually want to end the video off in front of the covered bridge, but it was way too busy and noisy over there, so another trail in the woods will do. All right, guys, I'll catch you later. Hopefully no more black bears for me. See ya.